Hey everyone, I'm Mary Beth McAndrews from Dread Central, and I am here today with one of the stars of the new film Knock at the Cabin, Abby Quinn. Hello, how are
Hello.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So I'm super excited to chat with you today because you were in Torn Hearts, one of my faves of last year, but also you're in Knock at the Cabin, huge new movie coming out from M. Night Shyamalan. And first off, just wanted to hear how you got involved with the project.
Totally. So I've been acting for a while and auditioning, since I was like 13 for
Oh wow! Oh
movies.
my God!
It was a long time, but I was in Michigan at the time, so I was doing self-tapes and, but I started at a young age, auditioning at least. So I had auditioned for Night maybe like 3 or 4 times, just spanning over 10 years. So I don't think he knew who I was, but I was reading his scripts and hoping to be in one of his movies for a long, long time. And I'd gotten close, the whole gambit
Yeah.
of auditioning. And then I sent in a tape, I think about a year ago, last January. And then didn't really hear anything. And then I was in Hawaii. And then I just woke up one morning and I had a message. This is a very long winded.
No,
Uh,
I love it.
okay. Yeah. And then I just had a message that he wanted to talk to me. And I was shocked because he kind of just talked about the part and talked about the project and then asked me to be in it. And I thought that it was a second audition. And I don't know, I was very caught off guard. And it was a really, yeah, like kind of beautiful way to receive that news because I was out of LA and yeah, I was just not even thinking about anything work related. So that's how I got involved.
That's awesome. And were you familiar with Paul Tremblay's novel before you auditioned for the role at all?
No, I wasn't.
Cool.
And I had read some of it before the initial audition, just because I think I had, like a day or two to put it on tape.
Yeah.
And that morning when I knew I was going to be talking tonight, we had like a 3 hour road trip and I listened to the whole, but or like the half that I hadn't read. So that was kind of nice too, because I got to, you know, read it and also listen to it and reread the script, but I hadn't read it or heard of it before. Yeah.
Cool. And so you play Adrian, and can you tell us a little bit more about her character, and then I'll follow up with some questions after that.
Yeah. So Adrienne is, I think she's around my age, although I don't know if it's specified, but like mid 20s. She's a line cook. She's from DC. And I think I can't really say a whole lot about her
Yeah.
background, I guess, but um she seems to there seems to be like a nervous energy about her, but she's also really nurturing and caring and I would say those are like her main qualities that we see at least.
Cool. And she's one of the four that we see, obviously, in the trailer. It's not a spoiler that comes to the cabin.
Yes.
And I just wanted to hear more about maybe the challenges of playing that role, and kind of what that was like for you to like occupy this character's headspace.
Yeah. I would say there were a couple challenging things just because the film itself is so intense. And pretty much every day on set, we were sort of operating at this really, really emotional, almost breaking point level.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so just physiologically, I feel like it's a weird place to be in for like, a couple weeks. And there are a few scenes in the movie that I had just been anxious for. As
Mm.
soon as I heard that I got the role, my head went like, "Oh God, that means that I have to prepare this scene." And so I had a lot of anticipatory anxiety about certain things. But I don't know. Yeah, so I would say every day was kind of a challenge because it
Yeah.
required a lot of emotion. Um, but it was also just like an incredible cast and truly like the most amazing, fun, warm people. So it was like a challenge, but also didn't feel like one because we were just together and laughing truly
Yeah.
more than anything. So yeah.
And what was it like to finally work with M. Night Shyamalan, like king of twisty horror, like, and especially after auditioning for a couple of his projects, like, what was that experience like?
It was incredible. It was truly like, yeah, I think it was also pretty gratifying because I had, at least for me, it was something that I had thought about so much for so many years. And every time his projects would come my way or and I got to like audition, I would get so excited and envision, meeting him and being in that world. So it was so exciting for me. And we also got to do, I think we had like a week or two of rehearsal before. So
Okay.
he and he was great. Like I remember the first day I got there, I think we sat down for lunch and he just talked to me about the character, and I think we like read through my lines just to see if it all felt comfortable and
Yeah.
um if I had any input, which is really really helpful because I think he wants people to for it to feel genuine, when people are saying things. So yeah, he's just awesome and really like down to earth, and also wants to have, I feel like he was making more jokes than any like on set. That's kind of his, he'll just come in and make a joke and then pop out, but then it's also a really serious environment. So all of us were kind of on the same page. I feel like he's good
Hell
at
yeah.
finding people who also operate like that. But yeah, he's just like really lighthearted and also, you know, incredible and an extremely hard worker and like all of that. But yeah, it was amazing.
And I do want to know what it was like working with Dave Bautista because he is just such a big, like intimidating guy, like looking so, but he also seems very sweet, like in everything else. So, like, what was that experience specifically working with Dave Bautista?
Yeah, he's like the sweetest guy ever. It's crazy. um Truly so sweet, and I don't want to say soft spoken, but like just kind of gentle and
Yeah.
um yeah, just like the sweetest guy. We all had dinner before we were filming and I sat next to him. And we just talked about being vegan. I don't know if he's still vegan, but we were just gabbing about being vegan. So that was my first impression of him, in person. Um, and I just never thought that I'd be talking about veganism. Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista, like, what a
Yeah.
cool moment. Just like, where am I?
Yeah, it was amazing. And then from then on, he just, yeah, just so sweet and thoughtful. One day he got us all on B12 shots on set. Like this woman came and gave us all B12 shots. He was always just kind of looking out for everyone. And yeah, just like the nicest guy ever.
That's incredible. Okay, so I mentioned Torn Hearts, which was a like honky tonk country pink ass horror movie from last year that is so good, and you are one of the stars and you sing a lot in it.
Yes.
um and I just wanted to hear more about your experience on that film because it was just like women and music and beating the shit out of each other, and it was incredible. So I just wanted to hear like what like your experience was like on that movie.
It was amazing because I grew up listening to Dixie Chicks and Shania Twain, and I still do, but I think it like was tapping into something deep, you know. Uh, and before filming, I just got to make a big playlist of country music, and I think it's called Cowgirls, and I just listened to it for like a week, and yeah,
Hell
it was
yeah.
incredible. And I had never done anything like that before. It's kind of campy, and there's like fight sequences that were so intense to film, and we were all just bruised. And yeah, I mean, even though there are stunt women there with us, it's like still intense. But yeah, it was so fun, and the music element, like the songs were so beautiful too, and we got to sing one of them live with Katie in, so it was like the three of us just harmonizing and um yeah, singing live. So it felt like I was in a country group. But I'm so glad that you liked it and that you brought it up. So I had so much fun doing that. And we were in New Orleans for I think a month, maybe.
Oh, the coolest place, and also maybe the most dangerous place, just like in terms of your own liver, being in New Orleans for a month.
Yeah. Yeah, that was happening a bit at the beginning. But yeah, it was a great place to, I feel like it just added to the world of the film, just being
A spooky
indoor.
vibe a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, it was a spooky vibe. But yeah, it was incredible and yeah, a lot of fun.
That's awesome. It must have been cool to tap into being able to do music as well, because you are a songwriter and a singer too, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I've never really gotten to do that in film, but it's always been I want to do more of it and do like my dream is to do a musical movie of some kind, but that was
Cool.
yeah, I would love like a country musical. Would be great, but that's kind of what that was.
Yeah.
It was fun to get to perform on stage and also just combine the two because I haven't really been able to do that yet. So
Awesome. So, okay, so if you've been in Torn Hearts, you're now going to be in Knock at the Cabin. Are you a horror fan? Like, were you a horror fan before these roles?
I wouldn't say a fan. Well, like
Okay.
I wouldn't say a fan
Okay.
because I but I really appreciate them. I'm just really scared and
Fair.
I'll go to movies and watch them, but I like my eyes are closed. Or I just saw Puss in Boots. Have you seen Puss in Boots?
No, I want to though. It like wasn't on my radar because I was being annoyed, like a annoying horror person. But I've seen so many things about it, and it looks so good. So I really do want to see it.
It's amazing. But there's like this one part, any jump scare, like I screamed in
Uh,
this movie. So any like just other movies, it's really jump scares or anything like that. But I really appreciate them and then did a lot of research before doing those two movies and just tried to
cool.
watch as much as I could. So now I've seen many, many horror films and love them. It's just not my go-to because of
That's
what it does.
that's very fair. Do you remember the first horror movie you ever saw?
Ooh, it's a great question. I know this isn't a horror movie. It's not, but one of my favorite movies as a kid was Labyrinth. Have you seen?
Oh, wait, yes. That like I think I mean, I'm very like fluid with the horror label, and that is definitely like a
Uh,
scary, especially for kids. Like there's a
yeah,
lot happening in that movie.
yeah, which is interesting because it was like my favorite movie from 6 to 9 or whenever that came out until I was like 9 years old.
Transformative experience watching that movie, I swear.
Yeah, but it is so creepy. So maybe
Yes.
yeah, but a different way. But I that's probably has to be yeah. We didn't have a ton of horror in the house because we're all kind
Fair.
of but that's spooky at least.
Oh yeah. Like look, I love the puppets, but they're still pretty scary.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. And then my final question for you is do you have a favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie? And if so, which is it?
I was thinking about this right before, and I think I have to go with The Village. I yeah. Is that yours?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with the village. I don't like all the haters out there about the village. I am like a staunch village defender forever. If you want to
Same.
know an embarrassing fact, I used to like my username on things when AIM and stuff was I was like Ivy Walker. Like I was obsessed with her.
No. Oh my
Yes, I know. Weird kid things, but still like obsessed with that movie. So it warms my heart that that's your
yeah.
fave.
No, I love it also, I think because it starts off and there's so many moments that don't feel like a horror movie. It's just like a beautiful indie film and romance,
Yeah.
like comedy. It's so good. How long was that your AIM?
Oh God, it was like my like also like my message boards, like weird name on Neopets, like very much dating myself here. I was like 10 or 11. I know. It's like but
That's amazing.
I know. It's very but yeah, that was my favorite. I loved her so much.
Yeah.
So that is well,
Yeah.
Abby, thank you so much for talking with me today about all of the horror things. This has been lovely. And everyone, Knock at the Cabin comes to theaters on February 3rd.
Yay. Thanks so much. It was so great meeting you.